Hey there, this is part 3 of my video series where I talk about every single archetype in Master Duel. During this chunk, we'll be looking at everything from theme parks to giant mechs and even Dami Mamis. Before we get started, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like so the algorithm gods will take pity on me. And hey, if you enjoyed enough, please leave a sub so you can catch more videos as they come out. Now without further ado, here's Archetypes 11 to 15. Number 11, Amazement. Do you like theme parks and Looney Tunes? There's an archetype for that. Amazement is a lesser-known archetype themed around theme parks, which just comes full circle, doesn't it? Theming largely became such a massive focus as it is today thanks to theme parks, which has looped right back around into being a well-themed archetype in this game. Anyway, Amazement is a control-focused archetype that pulls opposing monsters onto attraction traps and spells that are themed around other archetypes. There, they can use powerful effects to completely screw with their opponent's board. Most people don't even know that Amazements exist, since they're not the strongest archetype in the game or the most fleshed out at the moment, which means that most people don't see it coming when their ridiculously overtuned boss monster gets stuck onto a roller coaster until it vomits and dies. Fun theming, fun deck, good build, not meta, it gets into. Number 12, Amazoness. Do you like buff women that punch things really hard? There's an archetype for that. If Alien and Ally of Justice are some of the oldest archetypes in the game, they're basically newborns compared to Amazoness. Yet, in spite of this archetype's ancient age, it's decently strong in the modern day due to several waves of strong support. They have incredible field swarming capability and recursion, which allows them to fit well into link spam, which can result in a strong opening board regardless of whatever the hell else you're doing. There's a lot of potential builds for them, some stronger, some so dated that I think they found a caveman fossil clutching his copy of Amazoness Archer. If you're looking for a solid beatdown archetype that features lots of scantily clad women with massive step-on-me energy, you're going to horny jail. But also this is a solid deck to build. Number 13, Amorphage. Do you like the 7 deadly sins in Hard Lockdown? There's an archetype for that. Good lord, just look at these things. They're ugly as sin and they're named after them too. This is a control-focused pendulum archetype that is designed around preventing both players from doing a specific thing. Each monster has a pendulum effect that restricts an action, like Greed preventing non-Amorphage trap cards from activating, or Sloth preventing cards from being fetched aside from drawing them. The issue is that these effects come at the high cost of one monster in your field during each standby phase. Each Amorphage monster also has a monster effect that locks players out from the extra deck except for Amorphage monsters. This deck may have been incredibly strong back in the day, but it's firmly stuck in the pendulum era. The main boss monster, Amorphactor Pain, negates all extra deck monster effects except Links, which makes it so that the card basically does nothing due to the prevalence of Link monsters in the game right now. The other dagger through this deck's heart is the current restriction to summoning pendulum monsters from the extra deck, since that was the main way this deck managed to keep their costly pendulum effects rolling. Now, since they can't keep pendulum summoning back their attributed monsters, it's significantly more difficult to keep their pendulum effects on the field, which is important for a deck that's focused on control and hard lockdown. It should also be mentioned that I absolutely hate the fact that every single one of their fucking monsters acts as a no extra deck effect for both players, because that is the single most boring thing they could have printed. Oh boy, my opponent is running one copy of Amorphage Amogus. Guess we both get to sit here and smash rocks on our cocks like fucking caveman until it goes away. They're fairly dated and not really worth building pure these days, so they get a low 4. Number 14, Ancient Gears. Do you like huge mechanical monstrosities from the lost history of the world, or killing your opponent in one turn? There's an archetype for that. Peak aesthetic, these things look like Big Ben just stood up and started throwing hands with the entire city of London. This is another GX era archetype, and damn if these guys aged like a fine wine. They're one of the most crazy OTK decks out there, largely relying on completely ignoring many effects of their opponent's cards and then swinging hard enough to punch a hole in space-time. Their fusion monsters are particularly ridiculous, with Chaos Ancient Gear Giant being one of the most absurdly badass monsters I've ever seen, capable of wiping out your opponent's board and their entire extended family in one battle phase. Their only issue is with monster effects. While they're certainly strong, they're very vulnerable to hand traps, with her one saving grace being a card called Ancient Gear Fortress, although there is a temptation to use that card for extended plays. Ancient Gears are absurdly strong, and as close to a green deck for MTG as we'll be seeing in Yu-Gi-Oh! However, this includes its susceptibility to being countered. In spite of that, when this deck works, it works, and it's incredibly satisfying while doing so. Play Ancient Gears if you want to slam one of your biggest monsters in the game onto the field and grind your opponent down between your absurdly powerful gears. These guys get it too. Number 15, Ancient Warriors. Do you like Romance of the Three Kingdoms? Well, we have an archetype for that. They're a well-rounded archetype focused on summoning water, wind, and fire members to activate a variety of effects. They can lock down, they can beat down, and they can convince you that nothing happened in Tiananmen Square in 1989. Overall, they're just a good deck, and there's not much to say here. Alright, that's all for this episode. Please leave a comment about anything I got wrong in this video, and I'll include it in a corrections section in the future. Other than that, please leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want, and please share this video with your friends. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.